On Podcast, a podcast for aspiring authors who are ready to publish their books.
Oh yeah.
Each week, we interview authors, learning about their publishing journey, and giving you tips to get your books published the right way. Now, here's your host, Shante Williams.
All right, you guys, welcome to another episode of Get Your Right On Podcast. I am your host, Shante Williams, owner of Relentless Publishing House, where we help aspiring authors of all ages who write nonfiction to self-publish their books. And I have the esteemed privilege of interviewing authors from all over the world, learning more about them, their author journey, lessons that they've learned, and the books that they have published. And so today's episode is being sponsored by Perry's Junior's Book Club, and I'm absolutely excited. I'll tell you more about that later. So today, you guys, I have Ethleen Sawyerr. She is an author, entrepreneur, and lover of languages. Her company, Speak, Write, Play, provides English language services ranging from tutoring to ESL instruction to editing and proofreading. Ethleen has been afforded the privilege of teaching, editing, reading, speaking, and writing skills formally and informally to individuals and groups from all over the world for more than 10 years. She holds a master's degree from Eastern University and a bachelor's degree from Howard University, none other, the stomping ground for all of us who are in the Divine Nine. I absolutely love it, you guys. So let's welcome Miss Ethleen to the Get Your Right On podcast. Hello, how are you doing?
Hi, Dante. I'm doing well. How are you?
I am amazing. Thank you so much for hanging out with us on tonight on the Get Your Right On podcast. I think it is absolutely amazing. I love interviewing authors and learning more about them. So let's just jump right into the podcast, right? So tell us, the one thing I always love to ask authors is, why did you write the book?
I wrote the book because I wanted, so my book, Defiant, Redefining Singleness at 30 Plus, it started out as a series of letters to my unborn daughter. And I just thought, what if she was 30 and she was single, unmarried, and wondering what's wrong with me, having those sorts of thoughts. So I just kind of wrote some letters to her before my 30th birthday so that she would know what I was going through and just to kind of encourage her. If she ends up being 30 plus single.
I love it. 30 is that age where it's like, I'm stepping into the grown folks club. And a lot of life transitions happen. I don't know what it is. It's like 30, 40. When you hit those decades, it's like, ah. And so I love it because, there are a lot of men and women who feel that at the age of 30, so many things should have already been accomplished, and sometimes we put unnecessary pressure on ourselves trying to meet expectations that really don't exist.
Yeah.
And so I absolutely love it.
And that's really one of the messages of the book. It's, 30 is an arbitrary, right? So it's not like your life suddenly has to stop at age. Just keep going, do your thing.
Exactly. It's the age that says, you know what? I really have to be responsible. I really got to, just get it together and be this whole adult, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I need to pay my bills on time. I need to show up to work on time. I need to manage my money a little better. It's like I'm a real adult at age 30.
Yes, so
it's crazy. I love it. So how was that journey in writing the book? Like, what were you going through?
So I'm completely honest. I did a lot of reflecting on my life up until that point. And it was bittersweet. It was a little nerve-wracking because I had to be vulnerable. In the book, there's some story about some experiences that probably no one has heard, or maybe they haven't heard the full story. So the process of writing and putting those thoughts on paper and knowing that, other people were going to consume this outside of one or two people it was intended for,
Right.
that was a little scary. And just that being vulnerable was really scary because I like to keep my private life private.
Mhm.
So just the knowing that other people were going to read what I was writing, um, it didn't cause me to pause the project, but it definitely made me think about what I put in the.
I love it. That is definitely some type of journey to go on, to be that transparent and open, with your audience. It's not always easy, but it's necessary because readers like authenticity. And so,
Yes.
authenticity sells. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, aspiring writers, everything doesn't have to be fiction and fantasy. Some people, they
Hmm.
want to know the real deal. They want to know how do I get through
Yes.
this? How do I get through being
Hmm.
30 and lonely and not married and haven't really reached, where I want to in my career, and I don't really still trying to figure
Hmm.
out who I am and what I'm doing. Like, how do I navigate through that season of my life?
Hmm.
So I absolutely love it. So now, as you went through the publishing process and you went through your journey, what are some lessons that you learned and something you wish somebody would have told you before you got started?
Hmm. So I was definitely so I'm an editor, right? I'm a professional editor. So some aspects of the process were easier than others. And although
Mhm.
I'm an editor, I did hire an editor. But I wish someone
Good.
had told me to be leery of people who were presenting themselves as like author coaches and things like that, to do more research, because basically what happened for in my situation was I told an associate of mine that I was going to publish a book, and she jumped right on it and was like, oh, I have someone for you. And because she and I had a good rapport, I kind of just went with who she recommended instead of the person I had been working with, who I knew their reputation and all of that. So I
Mhm.
although I don't think I lost too much money, or I was, cheated or anything like that. Like that didn't happen at all. But I felt like I could have done a whole lot more with my brand, with the book, with really making it what I had originally envisioned if
Mhm.
I had not rushed to work with one person. If I had given myself an opportunity to really pause and think about who was going to give me the best bang for my buck, so to speak. So
Right.
definitely, I think aspiring authors should do their research, look into who it is that you're going to be working with, the publishing houses, the author coaches, all of those individuals. Like really take your time because no one's pressuring you. And I wish I had not felt so rushed.
Mhm.
Um, because I think I really could have done a whole lot more. And then COVID hit. So that was the thing. I had all these plans, I've had a marketing strategy and everything, and COVID hit and my plans kind of fell to the wayside. So even though you have a plan, have a backup plan.
Yes, I have to agree with you. One of the things that I encourage people to do is to research and compare.
Hmm.
To don't be in a rush to make the decision, right? If you don't sign
Yeah.
today, guess what?
Hmm.
You still have time to write
Hmm.
and publish your book. So, nobody's rushing you to get it done.
Yeah.
There's no hurry to get it done. So you definitely want to make sure that you're making the right decision for you
Yes.
and
Hmm.
understanding that what's best for you may not be best for somebody else, who have
Exactly.
gone by the
Hmm.
same path. Be okay to,
Yeah.
to not go their direction, right?
Hmm.
But to
Yes.
do your own research and to see,
Yes.
what's everybody doesn't vibe with everybody, you know,
Hmm.
especially in this industry. One thing I have learned is, everybody's an expert. A lot of people don't know nothing. you know, Unfortunately, I've had the honor, and it's been heartbreaking to help authors who have spent thousands of dollars with some other company and they got
Yeah.
no results. I had a
Yes.
client, she paid, and every time she called, they told her, oh, so and so is going to call you back. and
Hmm.
never got a phone call, never got an
Yeah.
email or
Hmm.
anything. So, when they come to me, they're already leery because they've already been
Yeah.
gypped.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
I take my time and try to ease their fears, but it isn't easy because you're thinking, are they going to be just like the last person? The
Hmm.
walls are already up, their tone
Yeah.
is different, and I don't get offended because I get it. Nobody likes throwing money away. It's just like when you go to the car lot and they sell you a lemon. Oh, you're mad.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you are mad because that's like a whole car.
Hmm.
And the process to go get another car and have them run your credit again, I mean, that's like, it can be traumatic. It's not
Yeah.
impossible. And so I definitely
Hmm.
want to encourage, anybody, who is considering going down this journey, do your
Yeah.
research. Like, spend
Hmm.
time researching to see what services are going to be are
Yes.
best fit for what you are looking for. Not
Hmm.
because they sound good selling it.
Yeah.
What are you looking for? So you need to know what
Hmm.
you're looking for. You understand what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And I realized
Hmm.
there are a lot of author coaches out there. Just because you made Amazon bestseller don't make you an author coach.
Yes.
I mean, it is what it is. Amazon bestseller does not mean anything.
Yeah.
Anybody can do it with a 99-cent book Kindle in a category that is not well promoted. Sell
Hmm.
5 books an hour, bam, Amazon
Hmm.
bestseller. It's
Yeah.
not that prestigious of an award, you
Hmm.
know. And so you
Yeah.
have to be careful because there are a lot of people who know that this industry is lucrative and they
Hmm.
are preying on the
Yes.
uninformed and uneducated.
Hmm. Yes.
I see, and I just keep on moving. I'd be like,
Mm. Yeah.
so I appreciate you sharing that. And I think it's very crucial, even when I'm consulting, with prospective clients, I encourage them, do your research,
Yeah.
see what best fits, what you're looking for in a company and what you're expecting in the services.
Hmm.
Um, there are a lot of options out there. And
Yes.
I'm okay with knowing I'm not everybody's option
Yes.
and everybody's not my client. Money sometimes it's not even worth the headache, right?
Hmm.
Have you ever had a client you'd be like, why in the world?
Yes. They're
Was
few
I
and far in
sleepy that
between,
day?
but when they come, whew.
Exactly. It's like, hold on, is this
Yeah.
Mr. Jekyll or Dr. Hyde?
Yeah. Yeah. Makes you question your entire process.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it is. But you know what? I guess they need that extra um what's the word? They need that extra care.
Yes. Yes.
It's one thing if you're nervous and you
Yeah.
don't understand. It's another thing if you're a control freak. I don't work with control freaks
Yes.
because one
Yes.
thing you will not do is micromanage.
Yeah. Hmm. Hmm.
Micromanaging the entire process will get you a refund real quick. I will violate my own policy and be like,
Uh-huh.
here you go. So
Too similar.
yes, yes, real quick. You'd be like, hold on, let me rewrite my own policy here. Mm-mm.
Oh
But
man.
no, I definitely agree with that.
Yes.
And it is a tedious work, because there are a lot of companies out there. There are a lot of different author coaches, book coaches, editors, and such.
Hmm.
Um, and you just have to be careful.
Yes.
You have to be, you just have to be. And I've had some doozies, and I had to be like, oh my god, I have to do some cleanups.
Hmm.
Um, had some experiences that made me change how I conduct business.
Yes.
I no longer take books that aren't edited by my company.
Hmm.
Do it. If you don't go
Yes.
through our process, I can't help you. You can do
Hmm.
a service, but
Yes.
I'm not going to do,
The full on. Yes. And
yeah,
I think that's wise. Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
My reputation is on the line. So I definitely agree with you. You have to do your research. Don't be afraid to ask for references.
Yes.
Right? We have to give references when we go on official jobs, right?
Hmm.
Ask
Yeah.
for references.
Yes. And I think that's one of the telltale signs of someone who is serious, right? Because when clients come to me, potential clients rather come to me, they like, I should be proud to say, well, if you're questioning, my work, or if you want to know who I've done work with, then here
Exactly.
you go. Here they are. And it's not something I'm ashamed about. I don't protect that information. You can see my past clients on my website. I have compiled a list. So when you're working with a real professional, they already have that information available for you somewhere.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly. I agree with you. So, and I think sometimes we are afraid to ask those questions.
Yeah.
Um, but if I'm going to invest
Hmm.
a certain amount of money with you, I don't care if it's
Hmm.
$5. I have a right to ask a question.
Yes, exactly.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
so we have to take that into consideration. So I absolutely love that. I love it. I love it. I love it. So before we wrap up, I want you to
Hmm.
give one piece of advice for aspiring authors, and then I want you to tell them how they can follow you, how they can purchase your book, and
Okay.
all of that stuff. And anything else you want to share about yourself or about your book, you are free
Okay.
to do so.
Okay. One piece of advice for aspiring authors. I think that many authors, um, they write, or we, I should say, I'll include myself. When we write not necessarily with an audience in mind, but we write just to kind of get our thoughts and ideas out. And I love the idea of brain dumping, because sometimes you're really not trying to stay organized or, stick to some sort of formula or come up with something formulaic. But I think there's a lot to be said for writing with intentionality. So even if you're not super precise in what you're communicating on every page, just mapping it out so that there is an overall theme or idea that's being carried throughout a message being carried throughout your story, so that it makes sense for your reader. And I struggle with that depending on the type of writing that I'm doing, but I find that that is how you build followers. That's how you build loyalty. And so I think as authors, and writers, just being more intentional with what we write and understanding that there needs to be something for the reader to get out of it. It's not just, oh, I want to tell my life story because I want to tell my life story. It's, I want to tell my life story because I
Because
want to communicate X, Y, Z.
exactly. I love it. And one thing before you go on, I wanted to mention is even though you are an editor, you hired an
Mm-hmm.
editor.
Yes.
And I can't tell you, and I know on the editing side, how many authors think they can self-edit their books
Mm-hmm.
and be and it's just, I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying it's not something you should do. It's not a practice that you should follow.
Well, okay, so self-editing and then publishing, right? But maybe self-edit and then get a professional to review it, go over it again. Yes.
That's the
We're on
process.
the same page.
Yeah, that's the process you should do, right? You
Yes.
definitely want to read over your work before sending it, because you don't want to just send over everything that has a bunch of errors and stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
your self edit is not publishable.
Yes.
I know you're good in English. Don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and it's the truth. I think we often try to save money. I tried to save money. Let's be honest, right? I wasn't necessarily looking for the editor who would charge me $1,000 because I knew I'd already done a good chunk of the work. But you know, that one negative review, because we didn't get professional eyes on it, can really weaken our morale as writers, and it can make us just look bad because it's out there for the world to see. Like, you can't hide that. Somebody didn't like my book because there were so many typos in it. I can't be like, Amazon, take down that review. you know
I've
yeah.
seen plenty of those, and I'm thinking,
Hmm.
okay, and you still left it up.
Yeah, yeah. So I totally agree with you. We, for people who are trying to save money, right? Writers who are trying to save money, definitely self-edit. But before you print, um, get professional eyes on that manuscript.
Yeah, and that it's just part of the process. You're going to have to invest
Yes,
to make money, and editing is one thing that you cannot go cheap on. And so,
yes,
if you're wondering, what's the going rate? It's per word.
yes.
So, it's per word, and it is what it is.
Hmm.
So the higher the word count, the higher the fee. And if
Mm-hmm.
it is a hard edit, you can expect an additional charge because they
Yes.
have to work extra hard to
Yes.
do not only content editing, but now you got developmental editing,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
right? So you have two forms of editing. And I taught you guys this. Well, I'm gonna teach it in my workshop, but I know
Uh-huh.
for each type of editing is a fee because
Yes.
it's a service, and
Yes.
you have to respect the service.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
that's my soapbox for editing. I can go on all day, and I know you can too. It's just like y'all. Listen, if you want to have a handmade cover, whatever, but your manuscript need to be like spotless.
Yes. Yeah. As
Make
close
me get
to
over the horrible
perfect as
cover.
possible. Yes.
Right. Make me get over the horrible cover and be like, dang, this story is good. The cover
Yes.
horrible, but the story is
Mm-hmm.
amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So, you know,
Yeah.
yeah. All right. So anything else you want to share, then tell them how they can follow you and how they can purchase your book.
So you could purchase my book on my website, ethleenwrites.com, and follow me Instagram, Facebook, Twitter at Ethleen Writes. And my goal this year, COVID, like I said, COVID really threw me off. I promise you, I had all these plans and things that I wanted to do with books and releasing books and things like that. But my goal this year is to release a children's book. So definitely go to my website, ethleenwrites.com, sign up so that you can get alerts because I will be releasing a new book this year, a children's book that I'm really excited about. It was inspired by one of the little girls I used to babysit over 10 years ago, which is crazy because she's like a teenager now. But yes, I'm excited about that project. I'm looking to put out another project towards the end of this year. Not for children. It'll be another nonfiction piece, not based on my life, maybe loosely based on my life. But so that's what's in the works. So Instagram, Twitter at Ethleen Writes, and go to my website, ethleenwrites.com, to pick up a copy, to order a copy of Redefining Singleness at 30 Plus.
Awesome. I love it. So you guys listen, go to our website. The link is in the caption of this video. And make sure that you purchase her book. All right. So I cannot wait for your children's book to come out. I'm actually working on one myself that I'm kind of pushed it back to the end of the year for some other things that I'm working on to get to go along with it. But I definitely want to encourage you to relaunch the book that COVID messed up. Relaunch it. Start all over again. There's people that still don't know you wrote it.
Yeah.
And just act like it's brand new.
Yeah.
Just act like it's brand new. And that's how we do. So I want to say thank you so much, Ethleen, for joining me on today on the Get You Right On podcast. It was an amazing show, and I thank you. I wish you well on your journey.
Thank you.
For that to come, and pray that your books do extremely well.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And that your clientele is increased on this year.
Thank you. And thank you so much for having me. It has been a great conversation.
Yes.
And I hope, anyone who's watching, there's some great nuggets in here. So if you missed it, go back, rewatch it. And even if you watch the whole thing, rewatch it and really take down notes so that you can really grasp the tips that were discussed today.
Yes, I love it. All right, you guys. So you know how we do it. I got a couple of announcements for you before we log off. So I am hosting our first workshop of the year on February the 22nd at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. It is entitled, Are You Ready for Publishing? So all of you aspiring authors out there who are considering, who have made up in my mind, this is the year that I'm going to finish writing my book and to publish it, I need you to register. It is only $22.22. In this workshop, I'm going to teach you why your book is a business, help you gain clarity on the why, for you to know the importance of identifying your target audience, identify the goals you want for your book, clarify how you will market your book, and we're going to discuss the cost of publishing. A lot of aspiring authors write, and then when they're ready to publish, they have no idea of the expenses that are entailed, and they're just, flabbergasted, like, oh my gosh, it's really this much. Yes, it is. if you want to put out quality work, you're going to have to invest. So again, if you are going to write and publish a book this year, I definitely invite you to register for the Worksite. You can go to bit.ly/AYRFP 2022. Again, that will be on Tuesday, February the 22nd at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And in just a couple of weeks, you guys, we are hosting our very first Junior Authors Virtual Book Fair for all of our Perry Junior Book Club members from last summer that wrote their children's book and they had it printed. So I am so excited for them, and we are celebrating them on Saturday, February the 19th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So I invite you to come back. You can watch it live on our Facebook channel, our Facebook page, and also our YouTube channel. And we want you to support these young authors. You will be able to purchase their books, encourage them, right? So I need you guys to show up and encourage them by investing in their books. These are some amazing and creative junior authors. I am so very proud of each and every one of them. I'm so proud. So if you are a published author and you want to be interviewed on the Get Your Right On podcast, there is no fee for this interview. Just go to bit.ly/all capital GYWO, the word podcast, and the number 3. If you would like to sponsor an episode, they are $22 per episode, or you can do $250 for the season. So, all right, you guys, so we are signing out. And as we say at Relentless, it is never too late to get your right on. You guys have an amazing day on purpose.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Get Your Right On podcast. Make sure to visit our website at www.relentlesspublishing.com. You can subscribe to our monthly mailing list, check out our publishing packages, and pick up our Aspiring Author Kit, which helps you get the book out of your head and into your hand. Don't forget to tell an aspiring author about our show and kindly leave us a review. Until next time, remember, it's never too late to get your right on.